La, 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 la. Let me see. This is the one. I'm going to use this one. All right, let's use this one. Number one, let me show you something mind-blowing. Jude chapter 1, verses 4 and 5. You're going to learn a little about Greek manuscripts and variant readings. The earlier copies of Jude that have verse 5 have a reading that clearly shows you Jesus was the one in the Old Testament. That's why many of your modern English translations, because they go with the earlier Greek copies, you'll find this reading. Get ready. Right here. Get ready, guys. Jude 1, 4 to 5. You ready now? Get blown away further? Stafford knows about the earliest extant copy of Jude. Papyrus 72. Papyrus number 72, written around the 200s, 3rd century. 200s. The oldest extant copy of Jude that has verse 5. Now watch, though. Get ready. I've done so many sessions on this, but creature repetition. Jude 1, 4 to 5, New Revised Standard Version, updated edition. For certain intruders have stolen in among you, people who long ago were designated for this condemnation as ungodly, who pervert the grace of our God into debauchery, use God's grace as a license and excuse to live immorally, because Jesus paid it all, which is a lie. The Lord's grace doesn't give you a license to sin. Lord's grace saved you from sin so you can live in holiness. And in so living this way, when you live a sinful lifestyle and justify it, you're denying our only Master and Lord Jesus Christ. So notice, who's our only Lord? Jesus Christ, right? But then now Jude is giving a warning. I need you to listen. Jude is giving a warning. What's the warning? He's warning these perverts, these false Christians, these false teachers. If you continue to use the grace of Jesus as an excuse to live immorally and justify it, be warned, the Lord Jesus will come against you in judgment and destroy you, because that's what he did to perverts and false teachers in the past. So you guys listening to me? I got to make sure you're getting this. He's now going to give 3 examples in the Old Testament. 3 examples in the Old Testament where God destroyed false teachers and perverts as a sign. That's what God will do to all perverts and false teachers. So God is the same and he doesn't change. Okay? You understand, right? So he's going to warn them. What he's going to warn them doing? Okay, watch here. Now he's going to give the first example. Let me now warn you and give you the first example. What God did to perverts and false teachers like you, as a sign, he's going to do it to you because he doesn't change. Now, I desire to remind you, though you are fully informed, once and for all, that Jesus, who saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe. Get blown away. Now, if you've been with me for years, you should know this. But again, creature's repetition. We need to hear something repetitively until it becomes second nature. Our earlier Greek copies all have the reading Jesus. So here Jude says it was Jesus, before he became flesh, that brought Israel out of Egypt, but then destroyed them in the desert for their unbelief. Wow. Wow. Did you catch it? Everyone got it? Did you see who brought Israel out of Egypt, but then punished them for their unbelief? Jesus. Jesus. This is why most modern translations, they go with the reading Jesus. Why? Because earlier copies of Jude, our earlier copies have Jesus, but the oldest copy of Jude 5, the oldest, P72, dated around the early 200s, has another reading that's going to blow you away. Okay? Let me show you. Note these modern English translations, how they read. Christian Standard Bible. Now, I want to remind you, although you came to know all these things once and for all, that Jesus saved a people out of Egypt and later destroyed those who did not believe. English Standard Version, that Jesus, who saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe. Wycliffe, but I will admonish you once that know all things, that Jesus saved his people from the land of Egypt, and second time destroying them that believe not. Again, even your Douay-Rheims Catholics, the Latin versions called the Vulgate, produced by Jerome, read Jesus. The Douay-Rheims 1899 American edition, translation of Latin Vulgate, produced by Jerome, around 4th century. It says Jesus. Catholics, do you caught it? Catholics, did you catch it? Your Douay-Rheims, based on the Latin Vulgate, an ancient version of the Old Testament, New Testament, produced by Jerome, 4th century, 300s, in Latin. And his Greek manuscripts had Jesus. All right? The people out of the land of Egypt did after destroy them. Lexham English Bible, that Jesus, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, the second time destroyed those who did not believe. New English translation, that Jesus, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, later destroyed those who did not believe. New Living Translation, that Jesus first rescued the nation of Israel from Egypt, but later he destroyed those who did not remain faithful. Now, the oldest Greek copy that still survives of Jude verse 5 is papyrus number 72, P72, around the 3rd century, 200s. Guess how it reads? Here it is. But I want to remind you about what you have always known, namely that the God Christ, God who is Christ, Theos Christos, saved people out of Egypt, but then he destroyed those who did not believe. In this copy, you have what's called a nomina sacra. If you go back and watch my previous sessions, our earliest papyri, Greek copies of the books of the New Testament, feature a practice where the scribes would abbreviate sacred names. Nomina sacra means sacred names. Nomen sacrum in singular. What does that mean? The scribes, to show piety, reverence, would abbreviate names associated with God, Christ, and the Spirit, and items or individuals